Welcome to the Discover Montcalm podcast, where we're going to take a look at the communities, the businesses, the attractions, and the people that make up Montcalm County. Here is your podcast host, Dwayne Weed.
My name is Dwayne, and I'm the host and producer of the Discover Montcalm podcast. And I have Carrie O'Connor. She's here with the Montcalm County Great Start Collaborative. Thank you for stopping by.
Thank you for inviting me.
Well, I've been kind of following what you've been doing for a few years. Real quickly, what is the Great Start Collaborative?
That is a very big question. We really focus on health and wellness, early education, parent leadership. Those are the key components to the work that we do. We're a body of community members, diverse. We are people who are interested in building a seamless system of care for early childhood in Montcalm County, which means that we are planning playgroups. We're working on helping ensure that there are no health inequities for our birth to 5 families. We're working on the highest quality of early childhood programming and services that we can think of. And we're continually looking at how we can make the best use of our resources to really build families thriving.
Currently, you're located?
We're located in Stanton at the Montcalm Area ISD building. It's the Montcalm Transition Center. It's on Main Street. And we have a website that we have a strong presence in. It's the greatstartmontcalm.org.
I'm kind of familiar with that one.
You are.
Kind of familiar with that one. Can you give me a little history of early childhood?
Yeah, Great Start's system in and of itself has not been around forever. In 2008, Montcalm County joined the Great Start system. It was a grant through the state of Michigan. Montcalm County was in phase 2 out of 4 phases. And essentially what that means is we received funding to do a strategic plan around early childhood and also some additional funding to start some programming for early childhood specifically. In the past, in the state of Michigan, early childhood has sort of been in many different silos, and this was really an attempt to try to bring the local flavor to state-level programming. In 2011, the Office of Great Start was essentially born, where the early childhood from the state of Michigan, the programming and services, and including the collaborative work, was brought under one umbrella. And that was really exciting because it was really the first time at the state level that we looked at all of these different pots of money that were being utilized in different communities for birth to 5 families and really looked at how can we start connecting them.
Yeah, because it takes funding to make the world go round.
It does.
And right now, how many people are employed through your organization right now?
So there's me as the executive director, and we have 3 parent liaisons that are really, their focus is helping with parent leadership in the county. And then there are 3 early childhood specialists who are coaches, and they work with programs, specifically in preschool programs, to really look at how can we build high quality components.
So with the additional support, you've got your team of the employees.
Yes.
I take it you probably partner with some organizations as well. Can you talk a little bit about that?
We have a strong parent representation of birth to 5 parents who have utilized services, and that's really important because they can tell us how things are really working in real time. We have a lot of different organizations like the Department of Health and Human Service representatives, Montcalm Care Network, our local health department, which represents Women, Infants, and Children's Program, United Lifestyles, Welcome Baby, just a lot of different organizations and agencies that provide birth to 5 services and supports, but then some of the non-traditional. So we have faith-based organizations that come and support. We've even had local dentists that have come to our board and served on our board. We have our local school districts that are part of our system. So it is a really wide system. So that's why when you ask me, like, tell me who the Great Start Collaborative is.
It's big.
It's big. Yes. And it's representative of our county.
And right now in Montcalm County, about how many people are you serving or families? I mean, you're available for everybody, but Do you have a count that you can kind of look at and say, well, we're serving?
So if you look at the direct programming, so those are things that people attend and they enroll in and they're regularly getting services. Last year we served 465 birth to 5 children across the county directly. But we also have over 1,000 parents that we're connected with regarding just getting resource referral information, supporting 211 and making sure that they're connected with, different things that can help them build their families.
I'm talking with Carrie O'Connor. She's the Executive Director of Great Start. We're going to take a pause right now to highlight our sponsors.
We hope you're enjoying our podcast, and we'll be back after we thank our sponsors. West Michigan Technology and Design Solutions, your IT and web hosting experts, westmichiganhelpdesk.com, and DW Video, your source for video production, websites, and your local videotape, slides, and 8mm film transfer specialist, dwvideo.com. Now, back to our interview.
Well, we want to thank our sponsors. We know that this could not happen without their help. I'm here with Carrie O'Connor. She's the Executive Director of the Montcalm County Great Start Collaborative. Let's dive into a little bit about you for a minute. I know that you graduated from Greenville, but did you grow up in Montcalm County? How did your life begin?
So I came to Montcalm County with my family in the 4th grade. I have a long history of family members living throughout the entire county.
Okay.
I graduated from Greenville High School, as you said, and then I went away to college and, got married, had children, lived a whole different life outside of early childhood. I was working for community mental health in Ionia County for many years. And then at that time, the Great Start grants were just trickling out from the state through the intermediate school districts. The Ionia Intermediate School District Superintendent, the local judge, and a couple of the other just high-level decision makers in Ionia County came to me and said, essentially, put your money where your mouth is.
Okay.
Because I had often been a proponent of early childhood. I had worked with families and children and primarily in adolescence, but often would say to them, it took 14 years or 13 years or 15 years for them to get to this point. My staff cannot fix something in 3 months that took years in the making. And so, essentially letting them know that it was a long-term investment in children. And so when they came to me and told me about the opportunity, I went home, talked with my family and said, this is it. Like, this is the dream job. And so made the decision to make the move and entered the Great Start world, which was very different than the world I had been used to professionally.
And what year was that, approximately?
It was approximately 2008.
2008. So you were in Ionia, and then 2008, you came right to Montcalm County for
Nope,
this? Or this happened in Ionia?
In Ionia.
This happened in Ionia, okay.
Yep, in Ionia. And so I started that board and that system there. And about 2 years later, the superintendents for Montcalm and Ionia approached me and asked if I would be interested in doing both counties. Montcalm was at a point where their director was leaving, and I had worked closely with their director. We'd done projects together. Ionia and Montcalm are so linked, and I think that was one of the things that drew me to Ionia. It was like my home, right? And so I agreed to that and did that for a few years, and then both of the systems themselves became just too much for one person. And then I made the transition from doing both to just doing Montcalm. So then I really felt like I was able to come back home.
And at that point, that was at what year?
I knew you were going to ask me that. I think it was 2015-ish.
Okay, so you could just start with it. It was around 2000.
Okay. It was around 2015.
Okay, so you move your family back to the Greenville area, kind of where you grew up, and then you still doing what you've kind of loved to do. You're a big advocate for kids.
Yeah.
And you play in that world where there's a lot of development going on, and you can affect people and have resources for people. I've had the pleasure to do some videos for you, and I get to go to these play groups, and everybody's having a ball, and they're from all parts of the county, which I find it to be very, it's cool. It's exactly what you're set up to do. But when you start talking to these parents and they're going, yeah, especially in the summertime, this is great. My kids look forward to this every week. You kind of move it around the county, so you might be in Edmore one week, and you might be over in Howard City another week. And it kind of makes it so that somebody's got to drive a little ways one time, but then you kind of keep moving it around so that not everybody's making that same drive. And I've watched these kids, and I've watched the parents, and they're having a ball.
Oh, thank
They're
you
having
for
a
saying
ball.
that.
I mean, and it's kind of a chance that I had to kind of see it firsthand.
Well, and you're at a different end of the spectrum, right? Like
Yes.
you work primarily with high school students,
Yeah.
but there are two things that we know that are so essential. And the first is that from birth to 5, that is the best time to be investing in children's brains. As far as like return on investment, we know that for every dollar we put into that age group, we're getting at least a $7 return. So we need to be building systems that support parents. And that was what the work really taught me, is that parents need those supports and those services and really just the connection in their home communities. So we've been able to, through partnerships, not through state money, not through federal money, but through our partnerships, at the collaborative table, to really identify how can we make these things happen, even though we know that there may not be additional money or additional staff. I mean, we have great partnerships to be able to do that.
Many hands make light work.
Absolutely.
Many hands make light work.
And our parents keep telling us, like, this is what's working for us. This is how you're going to help me build my child.
And you listen to your customer base. I'm sure there's guidelines that you follow, but you come right down to it. You peel the onion away. It's the parent and the child. And, hearing what works lets you adapt.
Right.
And I think that's a huge part of everything that we do. What kind of activities does Great Start get involved with? I know you've got the play groups, but what are some other activities that you're involved with?
We're at different community celebrations, like the Danish Festival, Stump Fest, Carson City, all the way from Carson City over to Tri-County area. They're providing those families with different resources, services, and supports, and sometimes fun activities. We were just at the back to school bashes, where again, we were trying to remind parents, hey, don't forget about your birth to 5. Like, as parents, they are their child's first and best teachers. So really, that back to school time is a great time to lift that message up.
Great Start is also part of the daycare that's at the Career Center.
Actually, it's not a daycare, it's a preschool program, but it is licensed as a child care center. As we know, those are the highest quality programs available to us in our community. The standards that licensing sets for us really lifts the bar. So we have a licensed preschool program there. It is what is often referred to as the MAC blended program, and we serve GSRP students, which is the Great Start Readiness program. It's the state-funded preschool program. But we also have a different situation at the MAC because we have been intentional about inclusion. So we have taken students that may have traditionally gone to an early childhood special education program in a different classroom on a different bus, sort of separated or siloed. And we have brought those students into a general ed 4-year-old preschool program.
And I witness it because my other hat is teaching digital arts at the MAC. And I'm in the same wing as the preschool. And I can hear them laughing, I can hear them crying, I can hear things going on. And that is so refreshing in the morning. And this past week, they were looking for the gingerbread man.
Oh, yes.
Where's it? So they peek in, and you got this little train of young people walking around asking, "Have you seen the gingerbread man?"
Seek and discover and problem solve, right?
It is, and it's a lot of fun. So, I get to sit there and go, wow, this is kind of cool. This is really kind of cool.
I'm glad you are enjoying that, because that is really a labor of love for all the people that are involved in making that happen. We did receive a grant from the state of Michigan. We're just wrapping that up. It ends in December. But our grant was really about helping us build more systems that would support that kind of work, and then sharing that across the state. So I'm actually really proud of the work that the collaborative has done to support that. I think that when I address the Great Start Collaborative, the parent leadership piece and the community wrapping around early childhood is an essential point to build up. We have some great things happening in our early childhood system that even some of our bigger counterparts and neighbors, they don't have that going on. And I'm always happy to share that at the state level, because we don't have to have great big initiatives to make great big things happen. We have work to do with our early childhood and young children in Montcalm County, but that doesn't mean that we can't accomplish it. So I just want to remind everyone in Montcalm County that when we come together to work on really important things like how to build children and how to best support families, we have a history of being successful.
Many hands make light work.
Yes. And our early childhood work, I feel like, has really lifted that up.
How does somebody, we have a parent out there of, birth to 5. How do they contact you? I know you said the website.
We have the website. We have Facebook. We have Instagram. We have sometimes parents just show up at our place of business. Sure. And one of the things that we do have there that I didn't mention, we have a lending library. So we have information about parenting, about child development, really everything specific to birth to 5. So we oftentimes will have parents that will come and say, I'm trying to get more information about potty training, or I'm looking for more information on this love and logic parenting thing. Do you have anything about that? And they can use us as a resource.
What's your phone number?
Our phone number is 616-225-6146.
So you can call, website, Facebook. I'm sure that the schools all know how to get in touch with you. I'm going to change things around just a little bit. Growing up in this county and now back living in this county, what advice would you give to somebody about how to discover Montcalm?
That's a good question. I think being open to the diversity that does exist within Montcalm County is something that, as an adult, in coming back, I see now and I value, but before I didn't understand the importance of it. So just recognizing the differences between Howard City and Greenville and Stanton and Vesterberg, and being aware of what strengths each one of those have, because each one of them has a little gold mine. I think about the libraries. I think about the activities that the school, like the elementary school or the high schools put on. Like every one of those communities have some really great gems happening, and
some very unique businesses.
Yes.
as you go across. There's a lot of hardworking people, entrepreneurs, and some manufacturing, but some retail, and then some out in the country shops that you can come by. And there's also some, we can't forget about the lakes. We have at least one.
Yeah,
That's sarcasm. Big
I
time.
know.
But the idea that we've got a lot going on as far as wildlife and the outdoor side. We're in the fall you can hit a lot of apple orchards. In the springs, in the spring you can kind of take walks down by the river when the leaves are starting to come and turn green, and then winter offers its own little rewards. There's
the trails. One of the things that we've been trying to be intentional about, speaking of playgroup activities, we've really been trying to get families to recognize the park system. We have some amazing parks, and young children love to be outside, whether it's spring, summer, winter, or fall. And so getting parents out into the parks and being intentional about moving some of our activities. You mentioned the apple orchards, and I think about the different activities that Anderson and girls have, the different activities that Deer Track Junction, which is technically not quite in Montcalm County, but it's close enough, or even Fruchthofen Farms. Like, they've been great partners with us in helping our families with young children know that these things exist in our community and they're welcome.
And on that note, I want to thank you for tuning in to Discover Montcalm, and remember to buy and shop locally.
Connect and subscribe to Discover Montcalm Podcast at discovermontcalmpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Discover Montcalm Podcast. To be featured in an upcoming show, contact Dwayne at 231-250-9624. Remember to subscribe at discovermontcalmpodcast.com.